What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. In today's video, we will be looking at the brand new Stasis Exotic Trace Rifle, the Ager Scepter. So first, let us go over the perks of this weapon. It has Arrowhead Break, which is great for controlling recoil, as is Particle Repeater. It has a perk called Ager's Refrain, which transfers ammo to the magazine whenever you get stasis final blows. Think Subsistence, but any stasis damage will fill the magazine. And lastly, Handlaid Stock to further increase the stability and recoil. As you can see, it is basically maxed out on stability. And the exotic intrinsic trait is that final blows with this weapon generate a slowing burst around the defeated target. So now that you know what it does, let's see how it performs. I would say this weapon is mostly for PvE, but for those curious, I took it into a showdown match and dropped a pretty good game with it. A final blow with this weapon will inflict 50 stacks of slow on a nearby enemy, as I tested in a private match with my friends TJ and Main. It does 17 to the head and 13 to the body, and its range fall off starts at 36 meters as tested with Darcy. With that out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. How does it perform in PvE? And honestly, I gotta say, I am very impressed. This weapon is great for controlling adds. I took it through an Astral Alignment, Shattered Realm, Lost Sectors, and a full Altars of Sorrow, and it is amazing for spawn trapping the adds. As enemies come out, all you need is one kill and it will freeze any nearby enemies, allowing for easy final blows. And what is crazy about this is that killing frozen targets can create shards to give you melee energy or an overshield if you run something like Whisper of Rhyme. You are just making shards all over the place. I also found it to be pretty good on ammo. Granted, I was running trace rifle ammo finders and a scavenger, but I was very impressed with the ammo economy. Once you get one kill, it freezes all the enemies and then you just have to one-tap them and they will explode and kill all the surrounding enemies. In some of the activities I was doing with this, I was even running a fusion rifle in my energy slot and always had enough ammo. If there were ever a horde mode introduced to Destiny, this weapon would be wonderful. It is right up there with Witherhoard for laning off spawn points. Once you kill an enemy to freeze the rest, it's over. It would be super good in something like Confluxes in the Vaulted Glass raid. This weapon holds 447 ammo when full with no reserves, which is the exact same as Divinity. If you are looking for a good build for this weapon, an obvious pairing would be the exotic Warlock helmet Verity's Brow. As you may or may not know, you now have to match your subclass and weapon element to get stacks of death throws. So in a lot of activities, I was running Shadebinder Warlock with the Reed's Regret Stasis Linear Fusion Rifle. This allowed pretty much all of my final blows to be stasis. And as mentioned before, stasis final blows load the magazine from reserves. As far as I can tell, it cannot freeze an enemy outright from inflicting sustained damage on it with the trace rifle. I laid into some nightmares on the Altars of Sorrow and they never froze from direct damage from the trace rifle. Only from the freezing pulse that is emitted from killing an enemy with the weapon. And speaking of laying into targets, it is not great for single target damage at all. It is definitely an ad clear weapon, but it excels at that. So the final thing I wanted to go over was the perk Ager's Refrain, which transfers ammo to the magazine for stasis final blows. I did a bunch of testing, but basically it is exactly what it says. I got a kill with the Stasis Linear Fusion Rifle Reed's Regret, and it loaded ammo into the magazine. After that, you can see my melee takes it from 59 in the mag back to full by killing 4 enemies. I then drained my magazine down to 6 and popped a super, and when I was done slaying out on adds, my magazine was back to full. And if you're using just a trace rifle to get kills, as I mentioned, it is a lot like Subsistence. Each final blow, no matter the method, just as long as it is a stasis kill, will return 10 ammo to the magazine. So if you're using this weapon properly, you probably won't ever have to reload it. As you can see in the background gameplay, this weapon has a pretty wide freeze radius. When you kill the enemy, it hits other enemies at a fairly decent distance. But that pretty much covers everything you need to know about this new exotic trace rifle. I am sure there are lots of guides out there on how to get this, so definitely make time to go get it. I think it would be very strong in an activity like Gambit, or as I mentioned earlier, anything where lots of adds spawn in close to each other. But that is going to do it for the video. I hope it helped you out, and if it did, then a like would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Now go get this exotic, and take care, Guardians.